Okay, this is a VR response to 1GodThor. Now, this is one of many VR responses I have to do. I think I'm stopping at 2 tonight. I still have to do a vlog this week, and a lot of videos coming. I have one more book review to do for this week, so I want to try to do 2 a week. And then as the year winds up, I'll start doing 4 a week until... like I said, these are all pre-recorded book reviews. Anyway, that's not what this VR response is about. Basically, this is something that I think his video was he was kind of defending his position of being a sports fan or liking sports. Now, in my video, which I think was his video, was kind of sparked from watching mine. I don't even remember which video. It was one of my vlogs. I think the last vlog I did, number 6. And I went into people who get so enraptured in sports where they almost feel like they are the ones winning when all they're doing is on the sidelines cheering. Now, I give a certain amount of credence to people who actually play the sports currently or have played the sports at one point in their life. I played football. I sucked at it, but I played football. I was the tiniest guy, I never really had that much weight to throw around. And so I wasn't the greatest football player, but it was through mixed martial arts where size didn't matter. It was how you learned to fight and how you used different skills to get over certain attributes one might have over you, and to maximize certain attributes that are lacking in yourself to the best of the ability through whatever martial art. So mixed martial arts and football are one of my two favorite sports. I've followed mixed martial arts even prior, before UFC. I remember ordering the very first UFC, in fact, and that's when it was sealed. I just loved the fact of seeing the hypothetical of what if this guy fought that guy. I was blown away. And here I was seeing in the Bruce Lee prediction of martial arts mixing, where he was right that you have to take certain martial arts and study a variety of them in order to be effective. And he was way ahead of his time, and he pretty much predicted UFC, which now birthed mixed martial arts. When I was growing up, there were taekwondo gyms, there were kung fu gyms, there were judo gyms. There was no such thing as mixed martial arts. Aikido, and so it's pretty interesting to watch it morph. So obviously I'm a huge fan, but there's a difference. I don't get so enraptured by it that it rules my life. Some people will literally plan their whole lives around the sporting event and live and die whether they watch this game or not watch that game, or they literally will call out sick after a Super Bowl, I mean, that's ridiculous. They're calling out sick after Super Bowl because they were just acting like maniacs Sunday night, and then they can't go to work. I mean, that stuff, that drives me nuts. I don't really have patience for the things like that. And you're going to hamper your productivity at your job because, I mean, if you set aside the day and take the day off as a vacation day, all the power to you. But when they freaking call out sick because they were staying up late, or no excuse, stuff like that. Or I would... I used to order UFC events quite often. I follow it. I have friends who are involved in martial arts. Way back in the beginnings of my channel, I used to do fight predictions from my friend's fightwear company. And I since kind of got away from it because it took way too long. It was too much time, and it wasn't exactly... I didn't really want to focus solely on that aspect of my life. And prepping has really kind of evolved to the point where I'm spending a lot of time doing it. It's become much more a part of my life than ever, to the point where my sports and love of sports have been put on the back burner. And that's what I'm saying. Prioritize what is important. And now, 1GodThor talked about using sports as a bond with his child. That's awesome. That's really what sports should be all about. But I've also seen the other coin where you have parents who will start fistfights with other parents at their child's game. See, there's that fine line between a fan and then the full-blown fanatic. And I believe the word fanatic came from the sports world. I think that's where it was birthed. I have to look that up. I'm pretty sure it came out of the sports world. And I totally agree with 1GodThor, where he says he admires the abilities of what the human body can do and what athletes can do. And I completely share that. Every time I do videos, I'm constantly getting bothered on the phone. It drives me crazy. Every single time. Sorry. He talked about, and now that's the thing I love about mixed martial arts. A lot of people think it's brutal and this and that, and it's no more brutal than football. It's no more brutal. The whole point in football and hockey is to dominate the other team and win. And the thing I love about mixed martial arts is it strips everything away. It's just man against man. It's one guy who's trained for hours on end and another guy who's trained for hours on end. Basically, in mixed martial arts, for every minute you're in the ring, you have to train 1,000 hours for every minute. Or octagon, and some Pride used to have a ring, a boxing ring, so I could still get away with saying ring. But anyway, that's so think about that. If you're ground fighting, that's 1,000 hours for every minute you got to train. And if you're stand-up fighting, that's 1,000 hours for every minute, and you have to have both. And it always blows my mind when you're pitting two guys that are of similar attributes or have talents pitted up against each other, who have been spending tons of time preparing the mind, body, and with repetition. And that's what I love about that sport, because there's no ball, there's no anything but the human body versus the human body. And it's just amazing to me. I've just always been... But that being said, I completely understand. I have my favorite fighters and I have my favorite football players. But what I also don't order events as much because now my money is going to preparedness. There's a certain goal I've set where I want to reach, where I will feel particularly comfortable that I've done everything I can to prepare myself for any type of event that might come along. And that's the thing. If you allow sports to completely envelop you, where you're ignoring what's around you, you're ignoring certain warnings on the wall, you're spending exorbitant amounts of money to go to games, and yet you're shirking your responsibility of paying bills. Or if, say, you filed for bankruptcy, you're going to a Yankee game. Things like that. A good example, I have a friend of mine, we had a discussion, and it was right after Hurricane Irene. And many of the people in Hurricane Irene were in the situations they were because they were not independent, because they were subject to the state. A lot of people who were there stayed when they should have left. A lot of people that were there weren't prepared. They just thought they were just going to ride things through. And so then they ended up in a situation that they had to be rescued from. And one of the things they did, when New Orleans was coming back, is they had the Saints game, and they made a big deal about the Saints game, and the whole place was packed house, while the whole city was in shambles. It's things like that. And I remember talking to my friend, and he's like, "This is ridiculous. There's probably people in that stadium that have no job, no insurance, no nothing, yet they're going to a game." And that's what I'm talking about. When you use it as a way to sidetrack your sidetrack you from being responsible, that's where it gets to a point where I don't agree and will condemn. Sports does have its place. I mean, really, sports, what it really is, when you come down to it, it's a way of making war without killing people. I mean, that's really what it is. Because in most sports, it's all about dominating the other, winner and loser. Only the difference is, it's not final, so to speak. The loser can always try to win another day. So it's kind of the civil way of competition, and that's what war is. It's a way of competition, only with deadly consequences. And there always is a victor, and there is always a loser in most circumstances, unless you have a stalemate. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I wanted to get it out there, so there you go, 1GodThor. Probably is going to make him make another video. But like I said, I don't disparage people who like sports. But I do disparage people who allow it to shirk their responsibilities and be completely involved to the point where they're ignoring everything else.